record. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you all for all joining me today and taking time on your Sunday. Uh, I'm trying to get more of these videos we call it like little podcastings going because I am so bad at it. But anyway, Olympia's coming up. I thought it'd
Yeah.
be fun to bring some of us together and just chat about it and just things that are going on with fitness general. We've had Anna on before, so it doesn't need much of an introduction. We got Nicole. Nicole, if you want to give yourself a little quick intro.
Yeah. Well, my name is legally Nicole Bloch, but people know me more from Nicole Farrier Fitness, and I'm the host of Beyond the Bikini Radio. I'm just an amateur fitness competitor, used to compete in bikini for years, and have just been in love with fitness since I've started getting involved in it. So that's a little bit more about me. Online health and fitness coach, been doing it for going on 9 years, and yeah, that's it.
Cool, thanks. And then we also have Tiffany. Tiffany, I don't think I've had you on yet. If you want to give yourself a quick intro.
Yes, my name is Tiffany Chandler. This is Spivey, this is my 2-year-old. I have been an IFBB pro since 2011. I've really enjoyed it. I feel like I've evolved with all of the involvement of the fitness industry because you do have a mermaid tail. Yes. I got injured after I got on the Arnold circuit in 2014 and had an ACL surgery, and we decided that we were going to have children. At the time, nobody was having kids and coming back to the stage. So I feel like that's kind of where my platform started in late 2015 or into 2016 after I had our 8-year-old. And then I've had a good run with it. I've traveled the world with the Arnold, and I placed top three at several Arnolds, and then hit top five my first Arnold. I mean, my first Olympia, and I've been to three Olympias. So uh, it's a lot of fun. I just always try to remind everyone that it is not my life. It is a part of my life that I get to be a fitness competitor and to enjoy that. And I use it as a platform for women who are having kids and working full time and doing all the things.
Yep. Being a super mom, it's awesome. Okay, I mean, so Anna and Tiffany have both been on the Olympia stage, so I kind of wanted to ask the both of you, what can people expect? What is it like to be an Olympian and preparing for it? What are current competitors thinking and going through with these 2 weeks before the show?
I'll jump
Anna,
in.
yeah.
I was gonna say I'll jump in on this one because I've been to one Olympia in 2022. I will, especially for the girls who've never been there before, like Michelle and several other girls. I try to I reached out to Michelle and I was like, look, the hard part's done. I was like, please, I go, just take it in. Because anybody who knows me knows that I am god awful at vlogging or pictures for a show. Some people are so good at it and they have friends with them and they're like, getting my tan, here's my meal one, here's this. I'm so locked in that a lot of times I forget to just take in the experience. So when I went to Olympia in 2022, that was the one thing that I tried to remember to do was just take a buku load of pictures and videos just so I would have those memories because that moment is gone like that. And all you have is the memories of it. So, and you prepare for it just like any other show. To me, it's no different. If you're locked in 100%, be locked in 100%. Be thankful that you're there, but just go into it just like it's another show because the more you, and Tiffany can attest to this, the more you ramp yourself up in your head, and the more you get in your head, the more you start to stress, the worse you do. And Tiffany and Becca Sizemore are notorious for looking at me and going, Anna, have fun. And every time I just let it go and enjoy the process and have fun on stage, my routine is so much more explosive. You can tell that I'm having fun. You can tell that I throw inhibition to the wind and I'm just like, let's do this. Hope this works. you know, and I always do better. like quit building it in your head. Like there's so much pressure there. Like the hard part's done. Just have fun, enjoy it. Yes, you prepare like a regular show, but just have fun with it. Tiff's been there a lot more times than I have, so she could probably speak to like what you can expect.
I don't know about that. I feel like it's the same. You feel that same feeling every time, and you cannot explain that feeling without experiencing it.
Mm.
2019 obviously was before COVID hit, so I feel like it was, and I hope nobody ever takes me wrong for this, but like real Olympia period. Like it was growing and building, and so being in Vegas during 2019 with all the hype and all the things, I was just grateful to be there. And so I feel like any new and up and coming competitor that's at their first Olympia does need to do what Anna is talking about and realize that the hard work is done and to take it all in and just enjoy the experience because there are so many of us, me included, that you want to get back to that stage. You want to be able to compete with the top 10 to 12 to 15 women um, in the world on the Olympia stage, on one of the biggest stages that we have throughout the year. But I will tell you, moving into my second one in 2020, obviously it was COVID year. They had changed venues. They were moving it to Florida. There were a lot of additional outside stressors on the competitor of just understanding the week. I mean, you walk into an Olympia and I'm always reminding everybody, hey, we all want our Nebia apparel. Like that's like, and I'm not a materialistic person, but when you get that
Mhm.
jumpsuit, it's like, oh my God, goosebumps up your body. Like it's so I get them right now because I cried putting mine on in 2019 and
I
I
was
had
I
Becca
was
there.
there. I remember I was there. She
And
bawled.
Becca was there. And thankfully, Becca was filming everything, right?
Yes.
And Becca
Yeah.
had all the content. Like I would have never taken a single picture in 2019. And then 2020 rolls around and you have all these additional stressors. And so I try to take that into consideration when I'm talking to girls that are going into Olympia. Like, hey, remember, you have a meet and greet on Thursday night, and then you're first to perform on Friday. Like, you're already going to have majority of your tan done. You've got to put on your warm up outfit. They want you in your top or your bra. You've got to have your autographs to be signed, but you need to make sure that you're meeting their requirements, but you're doing what you need to do for you.
Mhm.
So like even the small things. Yes, I know it's until 9 o'clock, but my final tan is at 8:30. So I'm sorry, I'm dipping out at 8:15. Like, there's some things that you have to take care of yourself for. And a lot of people that they just don't understand the amount of meetings, the competitor meetings. I try to remind everybody they are going to use the fog machines on stage. We have worked with that years and years and years on how they use them and when they need to put them out because it does mess with our breathing. And so there's a lot of small stressors that go into it, but at the end of the day, you're there, and you're performing in front of thousands of people that you want to draw into your performance. And if you can do that on that day, then you've won. I don't care where you place. You've already won. They come to watch us and the big boys.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah, we're the bookends, or one of the bookends, basically. I don't want to say we, you all
I've
are.
had so many people tell me that, and I didn't realize it was like I've always loved fitness, so I always have a bias towards fitness. But I've had so many like random people, and this was when I left the stage. I kind of still had on my costume. I hadn't really changed out of it yet, but like people immediately knew who it was because of the theme and they remembered it. And so many people would tell me, um, we love fitness. We come to watch fitness on Friday. We come on Saturday to watch the big boys. We come on Friday to watch fitness. And I was like, okay. So there's a lot more love for our division than we think. We just have to be the most vocal about it.
Mhm.
But it is very, very, very well loved.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's,
I was
sorry,
going to
we're gonna
say
say
that
it. Go, yeah, go ahead.
there's definitely like a lack of exposure and like as an amateur athlete, unfortunately, usually the amount of people that are doing fitness is pretty minimal. But I will say every single time I do perform at like even the amateur level, you get so many more compliments than, you know, when I'm just a bikini competitor, where I feel like I was just another number. You know, it's like everybody does bikini. And with fitness, it's like you really get to express yourself and entertain. And I feel like the roars from the audience that you get is like real versus like, oh, I have to clap at this point.
Oh, agreed. Oh yeah. I know I've been at some shows, like random local level shows, and like a stranger will be like, "Oh, can I get a picture with you?" And I'm like, "But my costume's off already." But they still recognize me. I'm like, "Ah, I'm sorry, I already took off my costume, but if you want a picture, still sure." It's pretty cool, and people will be like cheering for you because they recognize you. You present yourself as an individual, you stood out and everything. It's a very exhilarating experience, I think, and
That's
I
one of
can't
the
wait
things
about
that
it.
I've learned at local shows or guest performances, that after I get off stage, I'll keep my costume on for that reason, because family, friends, random people in the audience, they want to have a picture with you.
Yeah.
And that's one of the
Mhm.
reasons that, and I'm exhausted anyway, so I'm not taking off a tight costume.
Yeah.
But I just leave it on, because like the one time that I took it off, I had so many people were like, "Oh, you already took your costume off," and I was like, I felt so bad. I was like, well, I'll just leave it on from now on. So I'll be butt cheeks hanging out and all. I'll be in my costume walking around.
And
It's a
that's
good
the best
idea.
way. So there was one year, it was 2017, and I used footballs in my routine, and
Dexter
I threw them
Jackson.
into the audience. Yeah. And I did a lot of guest performances that year. And so I bought a lot of footballs that year. But the fun part was walking out in your costume and the little boy that caught your football in the audience wanting to find you for your autograph and for a picture.
Oh,
And that happened at the Arnold USA and in Arnold, South Africa that year. I took rugby balls to South Africa, but I was found by both that caught the balls after the show. And I think some of that too, you know, is I still had my costume on. So if we're really trying to represent and build knowledge and, you know, kind of continue marketing for the sport, I mean, Anna nailed it. Leaving that costume on is pure gold.
yeah.
Mhm.
Before we go on more on the Olympia stuff, I kind of want to dovetail into like marketing for the sport because and just talking about and knowledge of the sport. Because Anna, you started putting out a bunch of videos educating people on the moves and stuff. And Tiffany, I know you've been I wouldn't call it kerfuffle, but they're from the Arnold show. It sounded like there's some feedback that like didn't make sense to you, and we have opinions and wanted to get that out.
Yeah, we do. And that's huge. You know, I've had several podcasters reach out to me after I had made a post for the Arnold UK. And, you know, I'm 38 years old. I've been in the sport for a long time. And sometimes I feel like we only share what we feel like we need to share in fear. I'm very, very honest about that, in fear of, okay, well, if a promoter or somebody grabs a hold of that, when really and truly we're only trying to learn and to grasp the knowledge so that we can help the sport and we can help more people compete in the sport, then that's what I want to do if I can navigate it correctly, because none of it is ever negative towards the sport. But I do know, and that's like I've told several of the judges, we have people that are not competing because they're confused. We have people that are not stepping on stage because they're fearful of they're not going to meet the mandatories and the requirements, which is I want to be and feel like I've been a decent cheerleader to Anna. I could always be a bigger one, but I got excuses with these nuggets I live with every day. You know, like I'm so grateful that she's putting out these videos on the mandatories and what's required and what's not required, you know. And I've even made y'all, I'm a gymnast. I was a gymnast in college. I did it at the highest level you could. And when you evolve from 2011 and you're, you know, some of your biggest girls that you watched from day one back in the late 90s, there's not a lot of gymnastics and it should not be a gymnastics routine. And, you know, then we take out the bikini round or the physique round of our group and we promote it. Well, then now we have all these girls that have their pro cards and they're not stepping on stage because they're afraid they can't get to the level their physique should be. And that's just, it's not true on so many levels versus gymnastics and skills and what you have to have and a physique that you have to carry. to carry to be on stage for fitness. And that's why I was kind of vocal about that, because we get people that get frustrated and then they just don't come back, and you ask questions and you don't get the answer you're looking for, but did we ask the right question?
Right.
And that's where I have failed in the past of asking, okay, and Anna and I talked about this, or I think it was actually in our group thread on Instagram, was you get the feedback of, I want more strength. Well, I had to ask specifically this year while I was at the Arnold USA and at the Arnold UK, because strength in their minds was handstands transitioning into holds. And I had to ask that specifically, because when I think strength, I fly up to talk to Jesus in my push-ups. That's strength. Like, that takes a lot more power and muscle power than to hold a handstand. And so I talked to Taylor extensively about handstands and things like that, and about how it's more of a calisthenic and a balance, and I can hold handstands from gymnastics too. But for me to turn on a timer and hold a handstand for a minute is not near as strong as if I'm trying to do 3 to 5 fly push-ups in a row. So you have to ask those specifics on what they're looking for your routines. And I think as the sport evolves and more girls come in and the performance catches their eye, it's up to us as the individual competitor to go, hey, what do you want from me? I'm going to continue to be me. I'm going to continue to bring what I bring to the stage. What can I do to make me better? I understand that it's subjective, but without comparing my style to her style, what do you want from me so that I'm on her level? Is what I want all of us as competitors to do when we're getting feedback from shows.
Yeah, that's a
That's
really
one of the
Sorry, I
good
kind of
reasons
went
point.
off on
why,
a tangent.
yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why I decided that I was going to change up my routine after Tampa, because I was trying to play keeping up with the Joneses and I almost fractured my hip.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I was like, you know what? Like, I liked it. Like, and you can tell from Tampa where my energy was prior to the injury, and then immediately when the energy changed the second I got hurt. And I don't have the gymnastics background. Tiffany was there when I did my very first routine. It was not pretty, but
I loved it though. You're a really badass teenage mutant ninja turtle.
I did a cartwheel in my first fitness routine, y'all. Like, it was ugly. It wasn't ugly, it was ugly. Um, but I just I don't have the gymnastics background. I played volleyball for 15 years. I can jump, y'all. I can clear 6 feet. It ain't no problem at all. My straddle jumps, I might not go into a V straddle, but I can get up there. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Same thing with my push-up holds. Tiffany's the one that taught me how to do push-up sequences, and I've kind of finessed them over the years, and that's where I came up with like the push-up 360 Superman. Like, I can get up there, and the only reason I can do that is because I can get off the ground. If I wasn't able to get off the ground, I wouldn't be able to do that move. Um, but and again, like, that's where my strength comes from, is my legs, and my, strength and power kind of like they're together. Now I try to learn new skills, like where I try to put in like a handstand pirouette. That's as most as I've been able to do because I don't have that calisthenics, gymnastics background. And a lot of times, a lot of your cheerleaders don't necessarily have it either, but a lot of those cheerleaders have a little bit of a gymnastics background too. So like it's a little bit easier for a lot of people. People also have to take into consideration, and this is a subject that's never really touched on. For the longest time, suddenly after about 20, and Tiff, correct me if I'm wrong, between 2018 and like 2022, it kind of got to this thing of like, all right, you need a little bit more muscle. You need a little bit more muscle. So the girls started getting a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And people need to realize, like, I don't have, it is very hard. Simone Biles is stacked, y'all. She's stacked, but she is teeny tiny. What, 4'11",
4'11".
4'7",
I think
4'11"?
so.
So
Oh,
she's
really?
like a
I thought
person
she was
but
like
smaller.
4'8".
She's like a person but smaller.
I think she's
Um,
4'11". She might be 4'9". I think she's 4'11".
yeah. So y'all have to take into consideration, like, her legs are stacked. She's got some pretty good arms. She didn't have capped delts, which I know a lot has to do with, you being lean, and the leaner you are, the more capped you are and stuff like that. I have my daddy's genes. Everybody, and it's the running joke in the family. Every person on my dad's side of the family, all of us, aunts, uncles, cousins, third cousins, all of us, we are built like linebackers. I just happen to have my mother's side of the family's height. So all of us are very stacked and very stout. That's our genetics. I cannot tell you how many times a week I have to go prior to a show and either go to the chiropractor or to my guy Jesse and get deep tissue massages so that he can make sure that I can rotate my shoulders because the density and the fascia in my muscles are so dense and so tight, I have to be able to move. And that's what a lot of people don't realize is that like the one of the reasons why sometimes a lot of this flexibility and a lot of these strength moves and stuff like that are more difficult for some people than others is because of the muscle mass that we do have because we were told for several years, you need to get bigger, you need to get more muscle here, more muscle there. A lot of these newer girls that are coming up weren't taught that. So they're trying to build the physique as they've already gotten the background, which personally I think is easier, especially with a 1 and 2/3 scoring system. Now, if it was 50-50, it might be a little bit more difficult. But with a 1 and 2/3 scoring system, we've had that conversation about you don't have to worry about the physique so much until you get to the highest levels, where you have somebody who like Ariel Kadar and Missy and all of them and Whitney that have the physique and the skills. So it's
I agree, and you're definitely right on kind of like the time frame of when that came out, and a lot of it has to do with who our champions are at that point in time. And I always try to remind girls that what you see in a picture is also not what you see with the person in real life. Like, just because, like, Whitney gets on stage and she blows out her lats, and they form really beautifully. Whitney's not a big individual.
Mm-hmm.
She's a little bit taller, but she's not a big individual. The same with Missy. Missy carries a lot of mass. I mean, Missy is a beast, and she's got the most gorgeous X frame ever. Anna, your frame actually reminds me a lot of Missy's. But when you see Missy in person, Missy's not a large individual. The whole thing, yes, the whole thing is that when you're getting this feedback and they tell you they want a little bit of size somewhere, it's really just to make you symmetrical from top to bottom and front to back. That doesn't mean there has to be size put on everywhere. I literally just made a post 2 days ago because I've been off the stage since the Arnold UK this year for several different reasons. And I love where I am right now. I'm 10 pounds down. I've lost some muscle mass. I can do this and it feels great. And that's something that I'm piggybacking off of what Anna talked about is that when you go back and you look at a Susie Curry or, an earlier years of an Oksana or even Adela, the mass and leanness for them to perform at their level. And like I went back this year and was like looking at old routines that were winning things and some of the skills, like the pike hold full around on your hands and the pike holds that come up where you actually use the flexibility for your shoulders. A lot of our girls, we're on a level with the density now and the mass that those things are not obtainable and they're also creating injuries. And
Mm-hmm.
I do not mind saying that. Yes. And somebody's going to go, oh, well, you don't know that for a fact. Yes, I do. Trust me, I've had
Yeah.
3 ACL surgeries, 1 UCL surgery. I've been under the knife about 10 different times for orthopedic stuff. And I've watched it at the high school level with cheerleading gymnastics. I've watched it at the college level with cheerleading and gymnastics. And now I'm seeing it in fitness. And it's nutrition, diet, muscle mass, weight in general. People forget you're flying up and out of the air. So guess what? You've got that additional gravity that's pulling back down on you.
Yeah.
And that's huge. So I'm segueing into the Olympia. I am extremely excited to see what hits that stage this year because we have such a vast array of physiques that are coming in. And I'm hoping that it will settle our division to really understand we're looking for symmetry, top to bottom, front to back, instead of mass.
I think that with a lot of our division, it's an illusion of fitting the criteria with the shape and the physique, because we even see someone who's more relaxed and they might not look as big as, like you said, Tiff and Anna. And we see like a lot of competitors like that. I even know if like bikini wellness, like you see them off stage. Okay, they look a little bit smaller, except for wellness. Their legs always look like big. But then when they're up there, they just blow up. But even fitness skills, like for me, what freaked me out with wanting to go into fitness was explosive push-ups. I got a breast augmentation under the muscle. That was very challenging for me after that surgery. And I thought there's no way I can do that until I saw the illusion of how to make things look more explosive. Same thing with hiding your quote flaws as a fitness athlete. We all have a certain hold or a certain mandatory that might not be our best mandatory, or we struggle the most, even at the top level. So how can we, program our routine with the choreography to make it flow nicely, instead of like, oh, let's have our hardest hold at the end. Like, no, let's not do that. And I think for a lot of like new athletes, they might think, well, I can't do that push-up series, or I can't do that explosive tumbling. And you have to kind of realize that it is an illusion of what you can do instead. And there's many times, I'm sure, where fitness competitors, we can kind of see if someone like had to flow out of a certain hold or skill that didn't go the way that they wanted. But even like learning that you can do that and that's okay, and you're not going to get like deductions like gymnastics, or there's not like this strict criteria with like a knee slightly bends or a toe is a little bit off. I think that's really relieving, because for me, I got into my head too much thinking I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I can't do that, instead of focusing on all the skills that I could do instead. So I'm excited too with the physiques, because I know for me, I am someone that will have to build up. It takes me a long time to build muscle, but even seeing like Taylor, bringing her physique up, amazing skills, but we have a whole host of just different types of bodies now, where before, like you guys said, like Missy, Ariel, Whitney, amazing physique, so much like muscular density, but I get nervous too with the injuries. Like, is it that risk and reward that you have to constantly weigh out?
Yeah, I think risk and reward is definitely something that needs to be thought about, because there's a lot of things. If we look at me for just a minute, because and I want Anna to chime in on this too, because we come from two completely different backgrounds, and hopefully we can help everybody. There's a lot of skills I can't do. There's a lot of stuff I still throw on a spring floor or on a mat because I enjoy it and I want to stay young forever. But there's certain things that I know I'm not going to put on any one of those riser stages because of the body already being depleted, and you're rushing to get it hydrated again, as far as cramping or injury related or post injuries. And my motivating factor behind all of that is obviously I want to be able to play games and play outside with my children for the rest of my life, and I'm not trying to um, injure myself to the maximum to where I can't perform at home. And so we do have some that are chasing these skills, more tumbling skills, in my opinion, than anything else. And I could be wrong, that you really don't have to learn at our age or where we are with our bodies. Um, because most of the people that have those skills learned them at a younger age on a foam, in a foam pit, on a resi mat, on a spring floor, where you could alleviate some of the pressure off of the joints and things like that. And then now we're learning them, but we're not competing them on that type of surface. We're competing them on a harder surface. And anybody knows that until you get to the Arnold or the Olympia stage, you're actually looking for the creases in the stage. You're looking for the metal risers where they come together, because you can't land there. You can easily break your foot there. We all know these things. So I want our girls to perform to the best at what they know they're capable of and creating a wow factor within their moves and not chasing after what somebody else might be doing. Because I can do a full on stage all day. I did it at the 2020 Olympia, but then I realized that the X out, which is 10 times easier, grabs more attention in the audience and as a wow factor than anything else. And the judges really don't know that a full is way harder than an X out. They're going to want to see what's creative and what's eye catching and what has that more of a well bam factor. And people can do that in their handstands. You can do that in your dance. Nicole, I've seen some of your stuff. Like people wow me with their gracefulness or their leaps or their flexibility, and that kind of stuff I don't have. I have to hide that. I have to hide my flexibility. We just have to get more creative. And I think people are watching all these routines and taking random little tidbits going, oh, well, she plays top 3 here, so I need to try that skill. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Where are your transitions? Where's your engagement with the crowd? Where is your face that pops up out of that push up that maybe only got 2 inches off the ground? Where's your face when you come up? It's like, yeah, I just did that. What you think about that? Like we need everybody to understand up here that if you did something difficult for you on stage, I hope you sit up and that your face and the vibes that you're putting on create that for the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm ranting again.
No, I think you make a good point too with the stages. I really wish that there was a stage standard because it is kind of nerve-wracking, I would imagine, to constantly have to shift your routine a bit depending on the connectors or how big the stage is. And it's like the most annoying thing in the world. Like I love whenever like for nationals, like the girls will like communicate, how's that stage? Like how big is it? Like how does it feel? I'm sure that you guys do the same thing when you're warming up because you never know. Even doing just an amateur show, the stage is so small because they're not ready for the amount of competitors and that you just have to deal with it. So, and injuries again.
You do. And this is Darian Tissenbaum comes to my brain every time because she came in 2012 and we built a huge relationship and she is hilarious because I think 2017, 2018, like Miami had a show and they had come up with putting like some of the dead mats down on the ground and had tried to create a bigger stage to mimic some of the Arnolds and things like that. And she came up to all of us that season, and was like, we're professional athletes for a reason. We all know what the amateur stages look like. We all knew coming into each and every show that the stage was going to be different no matter what. That's why you are a pro and no longer an amateur. So like, it's one of those things where I agree. I wish there was a standard, but it's also part of the fun and a part of the process for you to have plan B. I did not have plan B going into the Arnold UK. And that stage was probably, now I know why there's been so many people injured at some of those two Pro Pros events out there because of that specific stage. And when we got there for warm-ups, everybody was going, okay, what are we doing? And if you're more explosive, you may be in a little bit more of a predicament than you are if you're on your hands a lot, or you have more, calisthenic balancing moves. So it really is different for each and every competitor too. Some like the carpet, some don't like the carpet. We just have to be ready for whatever's available.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have like a minimal safety standard though. Like I was watching Legions yesterday and it looked like, and I think it happened last year too, that the panels were like popping up a little bit on some of the skills. I was like, holy crap. Are they asking for like an insurance problem, like a safety issue there?
Last year's Legion, I remember specifically watching the routines, and every time someone jumped up and I saw the panel kind of do this, like I was literally doing this the entire time.
Yeah.
I was terrified for those girls.
Yeah. It's like at least tape it down, please. Just like tape them together at minimum.
Yeah, the first year they had Legions when it was still out in Long Beach. We were in a theater room,
stage.
so it was on like a really low octagon, really small octagon looking stage that had a model runway almost that went back, and it was all hardwood, like old school stage style. So a lot of your routine, instead of thinking that you had to go side to side, now almost had to go front to back or in a circular motion.
Oh, wow.
That stage literally, if this is the front of the stage and this is the back stage, that stage literally did this.
Oh, that is so
It did.
interesting.
And I was just like, and at that point in time, like we got like maybe 10 minutes for warm-ups that particular year. I think this was 2019 in Long Beach. And I specifically remember looking out at that stage and like going, like in my head, like, okay, what do I do? Okay, I go here,
Doing
then
your layout.
go there, then go,
Yeah.
like trying to just do it really quick in my head. Like I think I got maybe 5 seconds on stage, did a cartwheel, and that was it. But I specifically remember just trying to run through it in my head. But one thing I can tell people that you can do ahead of time, whether it be amateur or pro show, I always have a tendency about 12 weeks out, I contact the promoter and just say, hey, what are the dimensions of your stage? And they'll tell you what they are. Oh, it's 30 by 50. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna be squeezing in. So, but they'll tell you ahead of time what the dimensions are. So you can at least, wherever you're practicing, like tape your markers of what at minimum you have or at what
Mm,
That's
maximum
right.
you have.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
that's a really good idea. Never thought of that.
Yeah. Some of your longtime promoters have gotten to where they pass that information out to at least one of the girls and say, hey, share this, which is super, super nice. Tim is really good about doing that. And then heck, I've been with Greg forever. And so he's always like, okay, what do I need to tell them about the stage going here? Da, 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 da. So a lot of your promoters are getting to the point to where they're relaying that information to you. But that's fantastic, Anna. We can never reach out too much. If you're from the South and you have a personality like me where you don't want to bother people, you don't want to be a hassle, you don't want to bug anybody, you're just grateful to be there type deal. Um, Sometimes you
Contact somebody like me who has a
don't,
big mouth that doesn't care.
and I love you. I love you. I'm getting better. I really am getting better. That's on a personal note. But
You are.
we're not upsetting anybody on reaching out and learning the dimensions, and we're not upsetting anybody on going, hey, will you go ahead and have it planned for our warm up? 2023 Olympia, we're all sitting in our meeting and they do not have our afternoon planned on what time we're going for warm up, what time we have to be off the stage. And then there's the issue with the firefighters are coming in during the middle of our warm up on the stage because they have to meet fire code and make sure all the alarms and everything are working with the smoke machine. So our warm up turned into a 25, maybe 30-minute area on stage where some girls were just walking in and going, wait, I can't get on the stage. So the more we come together and speak out and reach out and ask questions and just we do it respectfully, our fitness group will continue to grow.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of frustration out there right now, but I do believe 100% in the girls that we have going to the Olympia this year that can help put fitness back on the map,
Yeah. Just learning how to
mentally,
advocate for
emotionally, and
yourself.
physically.
Sorry, I was just going to say, just learning how to advocate for yourself as an athlete is big. And like, it can be intimidating too. Like, I know for me, I didn't even know I was allowed to warm up. I did my first routine as amateur with no warm up. It's like you had no idea. So you have to learn how to advocate for yourself and what questions to ask. And, podcasts like this, people promoting the sport more will help you understand like what to expect.
And somebody is always going to help you. Like, you can put it. I love that we have that group. I get overstimulated a little bit in the Instagram one a little bit sometimes with everything I have going on in life. I miss a bunch of stuff, but Michelle Blank will do anything and everything for you, even though she's no longer competing. Becca Sizemore will do anything and everything for you. Whitney will reach out and help and put you in contact with the right people. Anna will do that for you. Nicole, Elaine, things like this. So I hope that the girls never feel like they don't have somebody to reach out to, because no question is a stupid question. I mean, and that's the honest truth, because our page only shows 4 mandatories. And unless you go with somebody and understand what a show works and looks and feels like, then you don't know. And you've got people like us that have been doing it for so many years that it's second nature. I I got so tickled earlier in the year with some of our rookies that were competing because they were talking about the tan and not messing tan up or stinking and not being able to shower and then trying, how do you warm up and then how do you get back from your two piece without marks and yada yada yada. And I'm going, I hadn't thought about any of that mess since like 2012. I just get my tan on and I go. Like there's just no, you know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
you hope these women ask these questions because a lot of us that will be more than happy to help answer them for you. Some of that stuff flies straight over our head these days.
Mm-hmm.
I personally remember being backstage at several shows and be like, where are you missing tan? Like after you're like, oh, I'm missing it here and like right across my back. I just
And nobody cares. It's
nobody
okay.
cared. Nobody gave, I will not. That's why I started wearing knee pads on stage. I would never have tan on my knees after a show. Never would. It would be completely gone because of whatever skill, knee spin, whatever I was doing. It was gone.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you're moving so much, they're not going to notice. It doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
I have done one show without a tan on before. It was before, because it was before we had the physique round. I was like really sick the day before the show, and I was like, I'm just gonna sleep in. I'm not gonna tan. I was only fitness competitor, so I didn't really care. So it's just like this. It's really funny though, because just because the pictures look really weird because there's this pasty fitness girl like doing stuff on stage. But it was just like, whatever. It was just like a fun
But
local
I
show then.
love that. I love that. And I love that you say that because there's a lot of the small things that I think us fitness girls stress over that don't need to be stressed about.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I did Night
I'm
of
glad
Champ.
that you
I
realize
tanned
that.
myself for Night of Champions in 2022, and my pictures look great. I'm tanned except for my hands.
I've done that. I've done that.
I was like, and even JM looked at me and was like, Anna, do me a favor. Before you go on stage, look at your hands. And I was like, did nobody want to say something backstage? Did nobody want to help a sister out? Nothing. I was just like, I was so like, okay, I'm gonna go do this, and I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna do my poses. It never dawned on me that while I was doing my makeup and putting my tan on, I had gloves on, and I just to not get tan in my makeup, and I don't know if I'm never once dawned on me, hey, because I'm like beautifully bronze, pro tan, gold, white, like white. But
I
yeah,
It's a
love it.
Michael
I love it.
that's
Jackson
why
situation, you know?
that's why when everybody like posts pictures of me like at Night of Champions, like our previous, I'm like, can you like put wording like in front of that hand? Like just kind of
Little
ming it
Photoshop.
with the, yeah,
Yeah. Blend it in. Yeah. Airbrush that a bit now.
yeah.
All right.
So
Um,
Sorry. Go ahead, Nicole.
I was gonna say we're doing Olympia predictions.
Yeah. 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 I was just about to go into that. I wanted to bring up the list. Let
see, that's
me.
hard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's
That's
see.
hard. That's so hard to do only because like if y'all want to do like who y'all think's gonna do better in like the physique round based upon what someone's looking like, we can do that. But the problem is that I have watched the stage and it complete because of how we do. I have watched, so say, we'll take the Arnold for example. When I was when and I love when Tiffany talks about when this show I did this and this show this and I was like I was there, I was watching, I was there, I was watching. I was a fan before I was a guru. So like, and I'm not even a guru. But I was a fan before I was a competitor. And so I like Tiffany, for example, when she placed third, it was the year that I believe Rael won. Is that correct? Yeah. The year that Rael won,
Yes.
the year that she retired, the Arnold, and Tiffany placed third, and she was shell shocked. But that I remember the costume, I remember routine. And I remember after she got off stage, after her routine, I immediately said, because I saw how flawless the routine was executed, how wonderful it was, how powerful. She had all the mandatories, all the strengths, and it was just a very wow factor for her. And I had never seen her perform to that height before. And I remember thinking, I said, she's got top five. Like I just knew it. And I think like, where did you place in call outs? at the physique round during that particular one?
That was 2019, so that was the purple suit. I was nowhere near in first call out. It
So,
says second call out somewhere. Uh, Probably ninth.
but I remember,
I am a steady seventh, eighth, ninth person when it comes to physique, and I do not care because I'm gonna bring a routine, so the girls better watch out. um,
but I specifically remember seeing her routine and immediately going, she's got top five because it was the routine. And I've sat there and I've watched other girls who always give top one or two tying round routines, and I'm going, something about that just didn't hit. So it's hard to sit here and say I've got predictions when I haven't seen the routine because I've seen some girls out of nowhere bring an amazing routine, and then I've seen some girls out of nowhere bring something that's, and I'm not saying for them, I mean like within that lineup, you know, and so I don't know, it's hard to say, yeah, I've got this person winning, this person not. So that's what makes
Yeah.
our division hard. It's not like bodybuilder, like I know what you look like and I know what your physique is, and that's all I've got to go off of. Like, no, we got an extra thing to
You
work on.
never know when like something tragic could happen too. God
Yep.
forbid. I hope everybody stays healthy and nobody gets hurt. That would be great.
That'd
Yeah.
be wonderful.
All right. So unfortunately, so I have a new computer and I didn't set it all up correctly. So I can't screen share the list. But if you can see the chat, I did paste the list there.
Mhm.
Um, but I'll also read it out for everyone in case you get. So on the list, and we know some of these people have had to pull out now. Amy Hamilton, Oksana Grishina, we know she's out because of pregnancy. Taylor Learmont, Jacqueline Baker, Michelle Gales, Ariel Kadar, we know she's also out due to her neck injury. Allison Kramer, Cerise, is it Descardenas? I can't pronounce her last. Cerise, uh, Shelly, Michelle, Tamara, Amber, Missy, Stephanie, and Michaela.
Do we want to do physique round first? Like
Yeah,
maybe top
sure.
five?
Yeah, yeah.
I need a pen.
I was gonna say, do we want to say first call outs for physique? Just do it that way.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good way. And we can at least talk about like what we expect to see from people's routines for that because it's going to be hard to rank
well,
routines.
I am an impulse person, so I'm not going to write anything down. I'm just going to tell you about the physiques that I'm excited to see.
Yeah, sure.
Um, I've known most of these girls for a really, really long time. So, number one, Cerise Descardenas is originally from Alabama, and she's coached by Haley Lisenby, who's been a longtime teammate of mine. And I knew that when she got finished with school and made her time back to the stage, that she was going to be a force to be reckoned with. And she has a beautiful, all natural physique. And I cannot wait to see what she does with that. I think she's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the physique round. I think she's going to line up right next to Allison Kramer. I think Michelle Gales is going to be in that mix for the first time because she's been absolutely killing it. Um, Now, when we were at the Arnold UK, I will tell you that Sandy said, Sandy said, and I heard Sandy say this, that Shelly's physique is the physique they are looking for. Shelly's physique is the physique, the poster child physique that they are going off of right now. And we all heard that and we talked about it, you know, those things. Because Shelly had lost like 20 pounds going into the Arnold's this year from what the muscle mass she was carrying last year.
Yeah.
So and I know Missy's been working extremely hard to get back to where she is. We know she's going to be just a freak in the physique round. So we've got Missy, we've got Shelly. I'm excited to see what Michelle Gales brings in. Allison Kramer is looking pretty darn good. And you've got Cerise that's going to be right there. And then you've got to include Jacqueline into that mix with her physique. I know Taylor has made some amazing changes to her physique. However, if you're looking at those six names that I just listed, they're bringing some similarities and they're going to have some full muscle bellies, you know, so there's going to be some nice physiques that are rolling up in there. I am a smaller individual, so like go team, go. I like that Amber is a little bit smaller in her stature. I don't know how in the heck she comes in so stinking lean. It is just unreal to me.
think that's just how she lives
I
life.
love, I know, right? Right. I absolutely love what Taylor is doing with her physique, and I will be one of her biggest fans and her biggest cheerleaders because I think she is a huge advocate in the most respectful and positive way to the sport. Um, and then Michaela, I can't take my eyes off of Michaela when she's on stage, and she's not very big and doesn't carry a whole lot of mass. But if she comes in lean and with her posing routine, she's beautiful to watch. So those are the ones that come to my brain immediately that I'm like, bam, this is where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Who's
I
next?
would I would probably, if I had to just go through this list, I would definitely say the only thing that I will say is that I know conditioning is going to be big. Like it's going to be a beautiful, they want symmetry and balance has got to be there. I know they're probably going for the girls that carry their weight evenly distributed, but do have full muscle bellies. That's going to be the biggest
Mm-hmm.
thing. However, because I know that Steve is sitting right next to Sandy, I know conditioning is going to play a part of it. Somebody who I do think will kind of play into that is Amy Hamilton. I don't know if you got, she won Night of Champions last year. I've been keeping up with her and her physique, and like she's been ready for like 12 weeks, y'all. And she's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like hanging out. But her physique is very pretty. She is much shorter. She's about, I want to say maybe 5'4". I compare everybody to how they look when I stand next to them because when you put me on stage, I look like an Amazonian, like everybody's short to me. I'm 6'2" on stage with heels. I don't know what to tell you.
I
Um,
love it.
Um, I think Amy has an amazing physique. Jacqueline will obviously be up there. Everybody, all of us have seen what Jacqueline does in 3 weeks. Like what she posts on social media. I know what that child can do with her body in 3 weeks. I don't know how. I don't know what she does. I just know what she can do. So, um, Michelle, I've seen her updates. I talk to Michelle regularly. This is by far the best I've ever seen that child look, and she is full. She is full. She is lean. She is full. Um, what's crazy is that I think a lot of these decisions are going to be made from the back shot. And I'm not talking about, conditioning necessarily. I'm talking about it gets to the point now where it's just genetically where your inserts are and how full your glutes
Mm-hmm.
are.
Yeah, I agree with
And,
you on that.
and I think Stephanie Jones is going to probably definitely be in the mix for that, especially after working so hard on being in wellness and then backing off and then going back to fitness. I really think that her shape has definitely improved by doing that. Um, the only thing I will say that there are several people that I think come in a little too conditioned when they go into their back pose and they square off their glutes versus having fuller glutes. Like you look at Michelle Gales from the back, they're just rounded. Same thing with Shelly, rounded, full, bubbly, beautiful tie-ins, but they don't want to see the tie-ins necessarily. They want to see the fullness of the hamstrings, of the quad sweep, of the glutes. And I think that's where a lot of people, so Amber is freaking shredded to the bone. Like she doesn't have to flex. She doesn't have to do those things. It's just when you don't have any fat there, you ain't got any fat there. So, it's hard for women like that when they do their back pose or anything like that, not to flex that it squares off your glutes. And that's one of the things that I specifically remember hearing Sandy and Mo and Trey and them say, like, I don't want to see squared glutes on fitness girls. I'm like, okay. But
Mm-hmm.
then, of course, you see Missy up there, center stage, and I mean, they're not square, but they're full. But if she flexed harder, they'd be square. It's almost like, it's almost not a conditioning thing, it's almost a posing thing. Like, don't flex. Just stand there, don't flex. So,
Yeah.
I definitely think I'm gonna say Stephanie Jones, Missy, Tamara, I think is gonna be up there. Michelle, let's say Shelly, Jacqueline, Amy. That's who I think your top call outs are going to be. Only because, yes, they do want girls who are conditioned, but I also think that they're going to want those girls to have some body to them and some mass. And the reason why I say mass is because you got to have the balance, because you got to have the frame. The frame is an X frame. You can be up there and be shredded all you want to, but you've got to have a frame. And
Yeah.
that comes with having some girls have beautiful lats with like needing more legs. That takes away from the X frame. So you don't have balance. You may have symmetry left and right, but you don't have the top and bottom balance. So that's where I think some of these girls are going to come a little bit further in the back tail of the call outs. But that's who I think my top call outs are going to be, those girls.
Mhm.
Simply because of the balance issue, top to bottom, not left to right, top to bottom.
I feel like they go a lot for shape too, and of course, like muscular density. You can have the conditioning, like you said, Anna, but if you're too lean, you become flat and you don't have that fullness, and it doesn't look as you don't look as muscular. And I hate this word, but you don't have that pop. Like you're not standing out for the right reasons. You start to stand out for the wrong reasons. And a lot of like what I see with the physique is they're judging the majority. So majority here is going to have muscular density. They're going to have the shape. They're going to have great presentation. And for the people that I wrote down, I had Missy, even with her injury. I think she's got a great physique. She's got amazing genetics and structure. Shelly, she's got great bubbly muscles. I also had Stephanie. I think even though she did wellness for a bit, she's got great density in her physique, great shape. I almost think she can get too conditioned, but because her muscularity is so full, she can almost get away with it. And then Allison, honestly, was so impressed by her physique at Legion. She blew me away. So seeing that shape, seeing the just her performance, everything looked great. Like her whole package was beautiful. I think she's got a shot in the physique. And then I had Michelle and I had Jacqueline as well. I think that there's so many great bodies up here too. They have to, of course, hit their peak, and hopefully everybody does and can bring their best, because we all know that some of that stress and nerves can kind of change the way the body looks too.
Allison's back shot is unreal. Her
Yep.
adductors,
Even
Yeah.
dude.
even Taylor,
Her
like Taylor
her
made
adductors.
huge
I'm like,
improvements.
I know her adductors from behind. I'm like, where did those come from?
It's like
I
mostly
want
ad
them.
doctors. Like, what?
I was
How do
like,
you
I
make them
want
pop?
those. Can I purchase those?
Right. Uh, I feel like everyone has, I'm on the same page with everyone, basically. Like Missy, Shelly, Stephanie, definitely like at the top. Jacqueline, of course, she always goes unspoken, you know. I'm really curious. I'm so excited to see like Michelle because I think what I've seen in her past shows, it's just like depending on which judges she's in front of, she can do. I mean, she's always top five basically with the physique, but it can be really different on like where she goes because of the conditioning thing. So I'm rooting for her to bring like just the right conditioning for the Olympia.
Mhm.
Do you want to go through just what we think the routines are going to look like for some of these?
I'm gonna tell you who I think is gonna come up very surprising as far as like who I think is gonna keep true to themselves but have very powerful, explosive routines. Um, I think that Taylor obviously is gonna have
Anna,
amazing.
hang
Yeah,
on real quick.
go ahead.
I have to go get my oldest child, so I'm doing a couple of things. So I'm just going to turn the video off so that it's not creating so much commotion.
Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Um, so I think Taylor obviously is gonna show us a very powerful strength performance. Um, Jacqueline is gonna wow us amazingly, like she always does. Um, Jacqueline's performances are always just effortless. That she makes certain skills look absolutely effortless, which is why I think so many of us loved Oksana because she would do things that were fairly easy, but she would make them look hard and effortless at the same time, which is crazy. Um, I think Ariel's going to come with a very powerful routine. Allison is going to have a top-notch routine. I never ever question. Like anytime I see Allison do a show where she gets one or two in the placings for the physique round, I literally say, I'd just be like, she's just going to kill a routine. She's got it. It's fine. Because that's one of those people in a lineup where I'm just like, if I see, I'm like, she's got this. Because I know what she's capable of with her routines. They're always just spectacular. Um, Missy obviously is going to try and make a comeback. And I think this is my prediction with Missy. Missy is going to have some tumbling that she knows that she's capable of doing. But I know Missy has been practicing a lot on her strength moves. If I had to guess, I'm going to say Missy's going to put more strength and endurance in her routine than she is tumbling and power, just to prevent further injury. That's what I think is going to happen. Only because I know that she's been practicing certain maneuvers that she's always been able to do, but I think she's going to try and capitalize on it with the injury. Um, I think Shelly's going to come in with a pretty explosive routine. And uh, if Amber can come in with the same routine that she did at Tampa, similarly with the execution, Amber nailed her routine in Tampa. Perfect, flawless execution. Every skill was hit. Cardiovascular wise, like her intensity at the beginning was the exact same at the end. She walked off stage and she knew she was just so happy. She's like, I nailed it. I did it. And we all knew it when she walked off stage too. So if she can come in with the same type of intensity, I think she'll do really well in the fitness round.
Yeah.
Michaela's got flexibility that I've never seen before. I can't. I ain't even gonna try to compete with that. I'm not that flexible. Mm-mm. When Arnold
Um,
stands up and starts filming you
Oh yeah.
behind him as you like split and then roll on the ground, I'm like, I can't do that. So
I was gonna say, I actually think Amber might be a little bit of like a dark horse in the routine because I was at Tampa watching and I was like, I was about to throw up. Like there was just so much nonstop movement. And I was like, I don't know how she keeps going. Like there wasn't a second of filler in her routine. And I think she is like, she's not, doesn't show an ounce of pain or discomfort. It's smiley, it's bubbly. And I think that she has a good shot to do really well. I love Jacqueline. I mean, Jacqueline personally helps me with my routine, and I know the standard that she holds for the people that work with her in the routine, and it's tough. So the standard that she holds herself is that much higher, and her performance quality is always there. I always joke with her too. I'm like, what's the outfit change going to be? Because I always love how everybody has their things, right? And I'm super excited to see Missy's routine with her. I think it's going to be like that Spartan theme. I think it's going to be really powerful. In a way, it's really fitting given the circumstances of last year compared to this year. And I kind of would be excited to see a different style from Missy. I think that regardless of tumbling or less tumbling, I think that she still has great qualities to do really well in the routine. But I will say, I mean, Taylor, the skill level is insane. The uniqueness is there. And I think that she will snag first in the routine. But I mean, you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like with Taylor in the mix, you almost, and not to say, not to counter everything we said earlier, but like with Missy being generally a power tumbler, but also Taylor being a really great tumbler also, you almost got to show somehow like, okay, I'm not just a tower power person. Like I can do these strength holds too. I can do handstands. I can do these transitions and everything. Like Missy almost has to be like, I can at least keep up with this youngin', you know?
and that's one of the reasons why I love watching Amber because Amber has that too, but she plays to multiple cards. And not only that, one thing I do know, Missy is better at fast transitions, but I think it's because Taylor had not necessarily worked on those as much. It was how to set up for a run, how to do this, how to come out of it. And like what we call a set before and after tumbling, And one thing that I think that Amber is beautiful at, like you said, her being, kind of a dark horse, is just transition, smooth, deliberate transition after transition after transition, and it's nonstop. But it's not
Mm-hmm.
so nonstop that it's just like I'm over here and then I'm over here and then I'm over here. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's like very deliberate in everything that she does. So
Mm-hmm.
someone else who's really good at that is Allison. Allison is very, very good at that. Just one smooth transition into the next.
Yeah, it's almost like a very good at keeping us on our toes and guessing like what's the next thing? What's she gonna do? Like I didn't even know you could transition into that way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand how important transitions really are. And it was Rael Graber who taught me that and who has taught several of us that. And we've done like her fitness retreat down in Cancun and all these other places. And I know that Tiffany works with her as well and has done retreats with her. It's transitions are huge. So learning how to come in and it allows for even further creativity, but the smoother the transition, Jacqueline Baker, the smoother the transition into one move into the next makes everything look far more deliberate and not so chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, for sure.
Very well said.
Yeah. All right. Well, any we're past as long as I was hoping we'd go for. So I don't want to keep it any longer. I want Tiffany to be driving safely. So any closing
You're
remarks you
good.
want to give?
You're good. You're good. I was going to piggyback. I'm excited for Missy in that regard because I do think she's going to showcase some more of her, like static holds might be a wrong word with it, but like, the balance and everything because she's got a lot of that. Because she worked with the hand balancing guy, Steve, for a long time. I know Rael worked with him as well.
Steve
Um,
Atlas.
yeah. So I think it's going to be a battle. And I really like all of the different styles that are coming in. And one thing that I have been like, I hope all the girls do that they're all focused on is I hope everybody focuses on cleaning up their routines. Like that's something that I've always been hard on myself about because we keep bringing these routines that are either super powerful or jam packed with no fillers, and we're getting up, we're getting down, we're getting up, we're getting down, but then there's a mistake. And yes, we can hide those, and there's no deduction system for them, and all of that kind of thing. But I want all of those girls to go out so that when they're judged and they get their score, everybody hit their routine and they hit their routine cleanly and didn't have to resort to plan B. And so that's what I hope for all of these women that are taking the stage and representing fitness in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right then.
Yeah.
I think we're good. We can all go off and meal prep now. Thank you all again for joining and taking some time out of your Sunday to chat. We should do this more often. I will be doing this more often. So
I'm excited
six.
for you, Elaine. Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
And
Yeah.
Nicole,
Yeah.
thank you.
More Instagram fitness videos coming out.
Yes.
Yes.
Woohoo.
Anna, I love you. I'm excited for the thing we're doing in January. I think that's going to be phenomenal.
Yes.
And we
Oh,
have
Good
thank you.
luck.
the
Go ahead.
Florida workshop.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
I'm gonna try and get some. I'm gonna try and finagle something as far as videography going on for that
Ooh.
because I think that would be awesome to be able to
Oh,
promote as
Yeah.
well. Like,
I
yes, we're
know,
doing
guys.
the women's thing, but this is from a fitness perspective.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but there is nothing going to be more entertaining than having 12 people in an Airbnb.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, let me know if you need anyone to chip in on the videographer stuff. Happy to help. However, if you want to do coordinating, I'll do the financing.
We will figure it out.
Yeah.
We will figure it out.
All right. Nicole, you're just gonna have to like jump in occasionally because I know you're gonna drive in, but you're gonna have to figure out how to get you in there
I'm gonna
occasionally.
drive in, but I
Yeah.
do know of a good videographer and photographer in the area. So
Sweet.
Sweet. All right. Well, hope I talk to you all soon. Have a good afternoon. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.